Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and start with our program. I'd like to welcome everybody out to our October Chamber Luncheon. Very excited to have everybody with us on a overcast and rainy day. First and foremost, I'd like to ask Pastor Darby Finnison, East Somerset Baptist Church, to please join us and as we say our prayer for our meal and our event today.
All right, thanks, sir. All right, I'm going to grow one day, but there we go. And thanks. Let's bow our heads in prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the day that you've given us, and even on a nasty day, Lord, we thank you for the rain. We needed it. You know us. You know all our needs, and we're just so grateful for your blessings and provisions. We ask you to bless our time together, Lord. Each one of these that's here, Lord, they represent families and businesses and parts of our community. We pray your blessings upon each and every one. Be with us as we continue in everything that we do today, and bless, and Lord, bless the food for the nourishment of our bodies. We thank you for being so good, and we thank you for Jesus, and it's in his name we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor Finnison. Always appreciate you being here and joining us. We have three Two for Tuesdays today. I'm going to have those. We're going to get those started. I believe first up from the Business and Professional Women's Club, I think Rakaya Pryor. Where's Rakaya at? Who's doing it? Hi, Brenda. How are you? Brenda Pryor's going to do it. Brenda's going to be coming up, and they've got a quick announcement and an award.
Good afternoon. As the 2025-2026 Business and Professional Women's Club President, I am pleased to announce Joanna Harness as our selection for Business Woman of the Year. Over the years, Joanna has worn many hats and done many things. She was a banker, an elementary school ed assistant, a bookkeeper, a Girl Scout leader, a church treasurer. Her community service includes treasurer for the Hopeful Homemakers, Sunday school teacher, past president and treasurer of our club, BPW, volunteer for the March of Dimes, the American Heart Association, the American Cancer Society, and a chamber ambassador. She is a 1968 graduate of Nancy High School and 1994 UK School of Banking, 2004 Chamber Leadership class, and also holds a General Banking School diploma. But her most prized role is her role as mother to Joey and Jenny, and grandmother to Seth, Ben, Josie, and Lily. She says she has been married all of her life, and she always says that she is the Jill of many trades, but master of none. Please help me to congratulate Joanna Harness, our 2025 Somerset BPW Club's Businesswoman of the Year.
Congratulations, Ms. Harness. Very well deserved. Our next Two for Tuesday today from Minuteman Press. I can't miss Gary. I already see him back there. Gary, you got the wrong color on. It's a lot of Tennessee orange, buddy. Oh, it's Miami orange. I'm sorry. My fault. I thought it was Tennessee. You're a good man. From Minuteman Press, sporting Miami orange, Mr. Gary Conley.
I had to learn to love orange when I bought the Minuteman Press franchise. This is Miami green and Miami orange. It is not Tennessee orange. I don't think I would have bought the franchise if that had been the case. Gary Conley here from Minuteman Press of London, Kentucky with today's Two for Tuesday. By a show of hands, how many of you have ever heard the Minuteman Minute on your radio during your drive? Anybody? Handful? Okay. Yeah, there you go. Wave them big. Well, good. Thank you very much. It's nice to know where my marketing dollars are being spent and if it's getting the job done. If you don't know, the Minuteman Minute is about 60 seconds worth of inspiration, education, or entertainment that I think people would probably enjoy. There's no selling of any kind. It's just some interesting information. There's 84 episodes out there, so you can listen every day for 3 months, 4 months, and not get a repeat. Sometimes you can hear it on Fork Broadcasting. It's been on there for a year, and it's coming to iHeartRadio in Somerset Market. Today, I'm asking you to let me be your preferred printer, okay? Not your storyteller. Do you need 100,000 copies in 3 days? You can call Minuteman Press. You need 10,000 envelopes, 1,000 business cards, carbonless forms, 2-part, 3-part, 4-part, 5-part, assembled in books or loose, numbered, not numbered, it's okay. We do letterhead, booklets, calendars, brochures, blueprints, posters, magnets, banners, and signs. I got a sign order back there just a few minutes ago. It pays to come to the chamber, right? Right? Yeah. Do you need help generating a compelling marketing message to generate more sales? We can help you with that. We're certified by the U.S. Postal Service. We can design it, print it, and deliver it to the post office. Ask us about Every Door Direct Mail, where you can deliver a large mail piece for less than 25 cents. When was the last time you did that? Are you really serious about reaching new customers? Dynamic direct mail is a game changer. Talk to me about that. We can also be your preferred provider of promotional products. We've been a member of the Advertising Specialties Institute for almost 20 years. We know where to go to find the products that you want to get your message in front of your customers and keep it there. You need pencils or ink pens, mugs, Post-its, can koozies. We've got them. We work with 3,000 vendors and over 1 million promotional products, and these people want nothing more than to put your logo on their stuff. At Minuteman Press, we really do put ink on paper. We design, print, and promote you. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Our last Two for Tuesday from Firehouse Subs. I see their local owner, friend of ours, Mr. Matt Rowe. Matt, come on up.
Right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matt Rowe, and I am a proud franchisee of Firehouse Subs for the past 14 years. Over that time, I've seen the Firehouse Subs just isn't about giving you guys a great food experience, but it's also about serving our community. That commitment comes to life through the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation, founded in 2005 in the wake of Hurricane Katrina to support first responders by providing funding for life-saving equipment, training, and education. Since then, the foundation has awarded over $100 million nationwide. Here in Kentucky, those grants have totaled hundreds of thousands of dollars, helping fire, police, and EMS departments across the state. With just this month, a chest compression unit valued at over $20,000 being donated right in Lincoln County. Here in Pulaski County, our local first responders have had the grants awarded of fire-resistant ropes to escape structure fires, and a heating system that dries their equipment in a quarter of the time, allowing them to react faster and keep us safe. This month, we have the special opportunity to promote the Public Safety Foundation even more. October is our First Responders Month, and all month long at Firehouse Subs, guests can donate by purchasing $1, $5, $20 medallions, or just continue to round up your total like you always do. Purchase our pickle buckets. All that money is just going to help us provide life-saving equipment. So I invite you to stop by your local Firehouse Subs this month. Grab a great meal and help us give back to those who protect and serve every day. Every dollar makes a difference. Every medallion saves a life. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Best pickles in the business right there at Firehouse, are they not? They're amazing. Really appreciate you guys and everything you do for our first responders. A few things I want to mention real quick before I turn the mic over. I know I've mentioned it once, but you'll see on your tables we've got some save the date cards for the Christmas parade and our community tree lighting that are coming up in December. So Thursday, December the 4th will be our tree lighting downtown. The Christmas parade always on the first Saturday, which is December 6th this year. Hopefully you guys are talking to your friends and your civic organizations and you're getting your floats put together. Spread the word to all the bands and different cheerleading organizations, and hopefully we'll have a great turnout again this year for the parade. It's always a big event. We'll have about 10,000 people downtown for that. So we've been getting ready for the parade since July, and we're excited to host that as always. We have a ton of info tables here today, and I want to recognize them as always. This is a free service we provide. Anybody can set up as long as we have room. If you would like to provide a little more visibility for your business or your organization, as I always say, I would encourage everybody in here to try and find one business, one organization, somebody you don't know a lot about before you leave today, and go up and just learn a little bit more about them. Introduce yourself and say hi and just learn a little bit more about these businesses that are really the backbone of our community. And I want to recognize all the businesses that are here today. So we have Kinetic, the Center for Rural Development, Expressions Tea and Gifts, Somerset 106 and Fork Broadcasting, Hope of Kentucky, the United Way of South Central Kentucky, Aegis Mental Health, Volunteers of America, Brown Bedrock Group, Mr. Dan Brown, Lifeline Home Care, Firehouse Subs, Net Vision Designs, Bethany House, Lindsay Wilson University, Highland Square Senior Living, Flashback Theater, Meredith Fry Photography, Black Mountain Strategy Group, and Minuteman Press. Let's give them a big round of applause. Okay, finally, something new that we're going to be doing each chamber luncheon. We're going to be recognizing the iHeartRadio Somerset and Citizens National Bank Chamber of Commerce Student of the Month. This month, we'd like to recognize Jasmine Whitehead from Pulaski County High School. Jasmine, please go ahead and stand. There she is, right there, Jasmine. Jasmine is the chapter vice president for the local FBLA and Region 6. She's a member of the Youth in Government and Teen Court. After high school, Jasmine wants to study to become an attorney. Let's give Jasmine a big round of applause. Thank you for being here. Okay, I think I've gotten through everything, Laura. I'm going to turn the program over to my boss, president of the chamber this year, Miss Laura Glover.
Thank you, Bobby. And I love seeing a crowd this big. I know it's fall break and raining, so thank you all for being here. We will go ahead and call our October chamber meeting to order. With that, we do want to welcome all of our guests, public officials, and our chamber members here with us today. We also thank and recognize our world-class chairman and ambassador circle sponsors. They're up on the wall, also on your tables. So take a look at those and make sure to thank those sitting at your tables. I do want to do a plug for University of the Cumberlands. They have a really big group here today, and they have just signed up as a world-class sponsor, so let's give them a round of applause. I do want to say thank you to the Center for Rural Development for sponsoring the luncheons, and also for Sassy Spoon Catering, Coca-Cola, and Pepsi-Cola Bottling of Somerset. And now we're going to hear from a past president, and make no mistake, she's very near and dear to me. This month, we're celebrating the 100th anniversary for our local chamber with our friend Tiffany Finley. She's also the executive director of the Master Musicians Festival, and she is within our community at every turn.
I'm Tiffany Finley, Executive Director of the Master Musicians Festival, and have led that organization for the last 16 years. On top of that, I was Community Development Director for 12 years.
I know you are very passionate about your initiative while you were president, the RISE program. Tell us about that. Tell us what made you do that initiative and what that has meant to you, and is it something bigger than you thought it would ever be?
Super proud of the RISE program. When you become president, there is this little pressure to start a program, but it was very easy for me to start the RISE program and champion the women in our community. I was so lucky going back to when I first started working for Judge Bullock. He pushed me out into the community. He's like, you know what, you're going to go to that meeting. And he was a big champion to let me do that. But I know that a lot of businesses don't have the capacity to do that. And then there was all those women, right? All the women that inspired me and helped me be professional and that I could just watch and take in like a sponge. So for me, just being able to provide something professional behind a brand that our community gets behind and knows that it's okay to send my employee to this event. And then we show up, quarterly, and every single quarter we see 150 women attend and hear from the women in our community and some from outside of our community that we can get inspired by. But I look around all the time and I don't want it to be about me. I'm just a facilitator. I'm a connector. I don't want to get up there. I'm not a great speaker. I don't really get up to give these speeches to inspire people. But if I can introduce you to another woman that I think would learn from you and connect with you, that's everything that I'm about. It's just connecting people.
So I remember your speech the night of the annual banquet, and it does talk about the transformation that you made, not only as an individual, but within the business community by joining the chamber and starting with that leadership program. Can you talk a tiny bit about that?
Yeah, I had just moved back to town, so I grew up here, but left for about, 12 or 13 years. And pretty much the day I started working for the county judge was the deadline for the chamber leadership program. And Judge Bullock was like, hey, I want you in this. I want you to be involved in the community. And so he signed me up that day, and I'm pretty sure I went to the retreat that next day. So got thrown right in there, and I was so lucky to have people like Carolyn Mounts and Kathy Everson in my class, and just some women that could really take me in and show me what it meant to be professional in this community. And just to see, because when you leave here in high school, you think I'm never coming back, or maybe when you come back home, sometimes that might feel like a failure. But once you get into that chamber leadership program and you see how, especially even now, the chamber leadership that gets to see our community now, there's so much to be proud of.
Are there any stories that stand out that you want to share with the individuals here tonight?
Yeah, I've had so many memories. So many of my professional life memories are made up from being part of the chamber, the trips that we've taken, the events we've been involved in. You and I, judging the Christmas parade or being part of the Christmas committee, being part of Summer Blast back, 17 years ago. And that's the reason I'm even with Master Musicians Festival to this day, because I volunteered with the chamber and they asked me to be a runner for the Kentucky Headhunters and Exile. And I loved it. And I asked MMF if I could volunteer after that. And they were like, actually, you can volunteer and be president. And that's how I became in this role. So it's really cool just to see how much the chamber has shaped my life. I'm so proud to just be part. All of us can just say with an organization that has been around this long that we were just there to shepherd it for a little while and take care of it for the next generation.
How do you describe the leadership that our chamber provides in our community?
out of all the organizations, I would think the chamber is the biggest voice that we have in this community. If you want your voice heard, you're part of the chamber, and the chamber's voice holds so much weight compared to any other organization that we have. So it's really kind of cool to see that, because it wasn't always that way. We were kind of like, I wouldn't say this, the stepchild, but we have grown so much, and I think, and even in the state, our chamber holds such a big weight.
So if I were to ask somebody in the community, what do you think the benefit of being a chamber member is, what do you think they would say?
I don't think all communities are like this, but I think for our chamber, the chamber is everything. That's what I tell any business that's asking me if they think they should join. I'm like, do you want to do business with our community? Because that's how you do it. That's the best bang for your buck for marketing dollars. It's how you're going to connect with your fellow community member, and it's just how you're going to get involved. I can't say enough about the decision when I made to become a chamber member, and yes, that was with Pulaski County government, but I just remember joining the chamber leadership program back in 2007 was my first taste of it, and I would not be where I'm sitting now or where I'm at in life without joining that.
Thank you, Tiffany. It's been a pleasure to work with you on the chamber as well. So kudos to you and everything you've done. So great job. It's my pleasure each month to welcome new members to the chamber. This month we have 9. So I'm going to run through those. If you're here with us, if you'll please stand so we can recognize you. Dine on a Dime, LLC, Brenda Weddle. There she is. Hey, Brenda. All right. Foothills Independent Transitional Living, Matthew Choate. Jones Mowing and Landscaping, Dylan Jones. King Inc., Ross Hampton. Hey, Ross. Welcome. King Express, Cal Patel. MPI Printing, Todd Warren. Resources, Grace Jeter. Welcome. The Beanstalk Coffee Shop, Renee Ruby and Jessica Ruby. And Warrior Martial Arts, Eva Turner. Hey, Eva. Thank you all and welcome to the chamber.
Thank you, Bruce. And we also want to thank all of our chamber ambassadors. They pour their energy and time into the chamber. Please stand to be recognized. I say this every month, but I do believe it is so true. They allow great big things to happen at the chamber with a very small staff. So thank you for your time, and you make it look so easy. So again, thank you. One ambassador went above and beyond, and we would like to congratulate Rebecca McCord. Once again, I might add, with Home Helpers and Home Care. And Rebecca, you're doing obviously a great job. It's just more FaceTime for you.
I didn't prepare a speech today, though.
Next time you need a speech, okay? Also, we do want to thank the Center for Rural Development and Kinetic Windstream for sponsoring the luncheon today. The sponsors really help make these luncheon series so great. And I do want to say Kinetic has a wonderful group with them here today, so I want to welcome you and thank you for supporting the chamber. Both of those groups donated their time for our speaker. So at this time, I do want to introduce the Queen of Country Music, Loretta Lynn, portrayed by actress Lisa Woods of the Kentucky Chautauqua. And please tell me I pronounced that correctly. The Kentucky Chautauqua is a statewide service of the Kentucky Humanities. While Loretta Lynn is celebrated as the coal miner's daughter, that's how we all know her, and one of country music's most iconic voices, her story is rooted in the rugged hills of eastern Kentucky, which we can all appreciate. It is shaped by grit and heart. Born Loretta Webb in a one-room cabin in Butcher Holler, she rose from humble beginnings to become a groundbreaking songwriter and singer whose lyrics gave voice to the everyday struggles of the working class women. And I know there are many of those in the room with us today that can really appreciate that. We meet Loretta where it all began, in the hills of Kentucky. She reflects on her journey from barefoot mountain girl to country music legend. Welcome to our front porch, Lisa Woods. And by the way, this is the front porch.
Yeah, if we can just scoot it back. Thank you. Oh, that's perfect right there. Well, hey, you all. I reckon we've surprised each other. I probably should have known that what with the movie about me being so popular right now, folks would probably make their way up here to Butcher Holler where I was raised. Well, you all must be worn out from hiking all the way up here. These Kentucky hills is steep. Why don't you come on up here on the porch and sit a spell? I tell you, some of you are probably here because you figure you know all about me, and some of you just got drug along. But, well, we're all here now, so we might as well get acquainted. I tell you, the view from up here sure is something special, ain't it? It's just like how I tell it in my song. Well, I was born a coal miner's daughter in a cabin on a hill in Butcher Holler. How many of you all know what a holler is? Oh, you all know what a holler is. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you anyway. A holler's a little canyon that comes down between two hills. And between these two hills, there's a little spring of water. On the sides of the hills is where we build our cabins. And if there's any level ground, that's where we put our gardens. And Kentucky has some of the prettiest hollers ever was. How Butcher Holler got its name is like this. My grandmother was a butcher. My grandfather was a web. And folks, there just so happened to be a lot more butchers than there were webs. And the butchers won out. That's how it got its name, Butcher Holler. We were poor, but we had love. That's the one thing that Daddy made sure of. He shoveled coal to make a poor man's dollar. Well, I figure you all know my name's Loretta, but growing up around here, everybody called me Loretti. We got our own ways of saying things in hollers, and that's one. Everybody's name ends in E, even when it don't. How I got my name is like this. When I was born, my mommy plastered the ceiling over my crib with pictures cut out of magazines of old Hollywood stars. And Loretta Young was her favorite. So I was Loretta Webb after the starlet. And now my married name's Loretta Lynn. Well, I figure lots of you think you know lots of things about Loretta Lynn. Well, some of those things are probably true. Some of them probably ain't. So I guess it wouldn't hurt nothing if I told you my story myself. Some parts of it are tough. Some parts just plain lucky. Well, I tell you what, I always aim to tell the truth, even when it ain't pretty. And I always tell the truth in my music too. I figure that's why I got so many women fans. I may be Loretta Lynn, the country star, but I'm still just a woman. And writing songs is how I make sense out of my life. Life in Butcher Holler was like this. My daddy worked all night in the Van Leer coal mines, and then he'd come home and work all day in the fields a hoeing corn. My mommy'd scrub our clothes on an old washboard every day, and then she'd rock the babies every night. The next day, everything would start all over. but I never did hear her complain. In the summertime, we didn't have shoes to wear, but in the wintertime, we'd all get a brand new pair. Even if he had to sell a hog, we got those shoes. Daddy always managed to get the money somewhere. My daddy, Melvin Ted Webb, was the gentlest, most loving man. He sure did love my mama. And I reckon I figured that's how all marriages was. Boy, did I have a lot to learn. My daddy never got to hear me sing and become, I guess, famous. He passed away in '59, and I didn't start singing on the radio till 1960. So he was gone before I ever got successful. That sure breaks my heart, because I sure would love to take care of him the way he always took care of us. My daddy worked his whole life and never had nothing nice to show for it, just coal dust in his lungs. We were poor. We were poor, but we didn't starve. That's the main thing. I'm real proud to be a coal miner's daughter. My daddy worked hard, and he taught all us kids to work hard too. I never did think of leaving Butcher Holler. No, I never thought of ever leaving Butcher Holler. I never thought of leaving, and I sure never thought of making money from singing. Where I grew up, folks made their money working in the mines, or they ran moonshine. Well, growing up in Butcher Holler, that's where you thought you'd stay. We were way back in the hills. But one thing about hill people, we all had music. My daddy could pick up anything and play it, pick a tune on anything. Mommy could too. All my brothers did. When you leave here and you go out and you meet people and they don't make music, well, you don't know what to think about it. But hill people could all do it. Well, we just figure it's part of life. My whole family would sing. I would too. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? We went to church when we could, and well, we would sing hymns. How great thou art, and the old rugged cross. Oh, that one sure can still make me cry. And on Saturday nights, my daddy would turn on the radio to listen to the Grand Ole Opry, and we'd all sing along with Red Foley and Ernest Tubb. Ernest Tubb could make me cry so much with Rainbow at Midnight and It's Been So Long, Darling. My mommy would threaten to turn the radio off if I didn't stop crying. Those were happy times. We'd all be gathered around singing, and well, sometimes Mommy would get up and dance. My mommy had a beautiful voice. It was much prettier than mine. My mommy worked hard, and with 8 children, well, we all had to pitch in and work hard too. I wasn't much good at chores, so she put me to work rocking the babies. I'd be on the front porch, rocking the babies and just singing every song I knew as loud as I could sing. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. My daddy'd come out on the porch and he'd say, Loretta, will you shush that big mouth? Everybody in this holler can hear you. I said, well, Daddy, what difference does it make? Everybody's my cousin anyway. Butcher Holler was home, and I never did think of leaving it. Sometimes I look around this holler and I think, how did I get out? And the answer is my husband, Doolittle. He took me out. See, I was only 15 when I met Oliver Doolittle Lynn, and 1 month later I married him on January 10th, 1948. Everybody called him Doolittle, but I called him Do. How me and Do met is like this. I had seen him around town during the war in his uniform, and I thought he looked just like a little tin soldier. Well, then, he turned up at the pie social, running all the bidding. I weren't much of a cook, but somehow Do and this other boy, they ended up in a bidding war over my pie. They just kept going, higher and higher and higher, and finally, Doolittle said, $5, sold. And he bought that pie himself. $5 was a lot of money in those days. Well, Doolittle, he took one bite of that pie, and the funniest look come over his face. Would you believe I had mixed up the sugar with the salt? I was so embarrassed. But Doolittle, he just walked me home, right on up this holler. And then he looked at me and he said, "Hey, come here. I'm going to kiss you goodnight." I tell you the truth, I fell in love right there. I went into the house just singing away. My mommy and daddy, they told me I was too young to get married. They tried real hard to talk me out of it. But eventually they saw I was going to get married anyway. My daddy made Doolittle promise. He said, "Don't you take her all far away from home." But that's just what Do did anyway. That first married year was tough. Doolittle was 21 when we got married. And well, he knew a whole lot more than me. He had been all around the world as a soldier. I didn't have no idea what would happen on my wedding night. Well, how could I know? Mommy didn't tell us nothing. It had been about 4 months when I started getting sick in the morning. Doctor told me, "Well, that's what's wrong with you. You're going to have a baby." I said, "I can't have no babies." But I was pregnant. And right about that same time, Doolittle sent me back to live with my parents because he said I weren't no good as a housekeeper or a wife. Well, that hurt me real good at the time, especially because I know he was going back to an old girlfriend. But eventually, we made up, and we started planning for having this baby. You could say I went from my daddy to Do, and he raised me up how he wanted me. So, I was pregnant, and Do, he took us far away from home, all the way to western Washington, and that's where we lived. I guess he looked around at this holler and he saw coal mines or moonshine, and he wanted more options than that. So we went to Washington and we worked on a farm. That's where we lived for 15 years. That's where I was living when I started singing. It were a lonesome time. Well, I didn't know anybody, and I never did get out of the house, and Do kept me in the house with one baby right after the other. I mean, I had the first baby pretty much right away, and then they just kept coming. I had 4 by the time I was 19. Betty Sue, Jack Benny, Ernest Ray, and Clara Marie, who we call Sissy. I tell you the truth. I love my children, and I love my husband. But I got married too young. I don't recommend that to anybody. I have my husband Do to thank for my singing, though. We'd been married about 10 years when Do figured out I could sing. He heard me singing to the kids, and he said I sounded pretty good. One day, he bought me a $17 harmony guitar that I taught myself to play. Well, there weren't much else to do besides cook and clean and chase after the kids. Besides, music was something I'd always done. It reminded me of home, made it seem less lonesome being so far away from Kentucky. Doolittle worked pretty regular, but we were barely making a living on what he made. He decided my singing was our ticket. He started acting like maybe there was more to me than just some woman he lived with, having his children and cooking his supper. I'm not going to lie, I liked it when he treated me that way. It made me think maybe there was more to me too. I tell you, without Doolittle, I never would have thought of singing to get paid for it. Why, I just thought making music was something you did because you loved to do it. Besides, like I told Do, I just wanted to sing for my kids. I didn't need anybody else to hear. But Do, he said, "Listen to me. I know better. Trust me." He'd been all around the world. He knew better than me. And besides, I'd never been to honky-tonks to hear live music. But Do, he'd been to his fair share of honky-tonks. More than his fair share, really. So how me singing in front of folks started is like this. One night, Dew took me with him to this bar where there was a live band. Next thing I know, he drugged me out on stage and he said, I want you to let this gal sing. Next to Kitty Wells, she's the best singer in the country. Well, at first I didn't want to do it. But when Dew got an idea in his head, he was bullheaded. I begged and I pleaded and I tried to get out of singing in front of folks, but he wouldn't let me. He forced me out on that stage to sing. It was a struggle, but I did it because he made me. Well, I didn't know many songs, so I just sang one from when I was a girl. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. When I got done singing, they said, next Saturday night, bring her in, we'll put her in the band. That's how it started. I was singing in a band. I got $5 every Saturday night, and I thought, I'm gonna get rich. It was my first taste of freedom, and it felt good. I made that money singing my songs. I liked it. After that, me and Dew were a team. No matter what, we were gonna make something of ourselves for our family. Dew believed in me, and he pushed me. He'd say, I think you're that good. And I listened to him because I trusted him. Besides, most of the time he was right. And you don't disrespect that kind of dedication. Well, I started writing before I ever got around to singing. But I tried it and I couldn't figure it out, so I quit. Well, then when I did start singing, I looked at that songbook and I thought, heck, this is easy. So I threw the songbook down and I wrote my own songs. I wrote about things that happened and things I felt. I wrote about raising babies and family, love, my feelings. I wrote about marriage and betrayal and hurt. It was good to get to write down the things I felt deep inside. And when Dew heard my songs, he said they were good. Dew hadn't ever encouraged me like that. I liked it. I'd be out working and just picking strawberries, writing down a song on any scrap of paper I could find. Ever since you left me, I've done nothing but wrong. Many nights I'd laid awake and cried. We were so happy, my heart was in a whirl. But now I'm a honky-tonk girl. I'm a Honky-Tonk Girl was a song I wrote about this girl I'd seen in Bill's Tavern. Seen this girl in there, crying and drinking beer a bunch of times. And I got to wondering about her story. So I wrote that song. That song became my first single. Well, it took a whole lot of work to make that happen. I was playing everywhere I could in little bars, and I finally, eventually, had my own band. You see, my brother, Jay Lee, he come up from Kentucky to live with us in Washington State, and he played with me. We called our band Loretta Lynn and her Trailblazers. Well, I'll tell y'all, one of the luckiest things that ever happened to me was that I won a talent show on Buck Owens' TV show. There were 30 people, and I won. I started to think maybe there was something to me, too. That TV show was how I met Mr. Norm Burley. Mr. Burley was a businessman. He heard me sing, and, well, he said he wanted to sign me to a record label, so he created 0 record labels. He told me and Dew, if I ever had the chance to sign with a real label, he'd let us out of the contract. Mr. Burley gave us money to make a record, so off we went to L.A. Well, we didn't have no idea how to make a record. Dew Stu just knocked on doors until he found the studio where Speedy West worked. Speedy was well known in country music, and he got a lot of great musicians to play on my record. A few weeks later, they shipped us that record. It was February 1960. I couldn't believe my songs were on an LP album. Well, me and Dew, we got right to work. Dew took some pictures of me in front of an old bedspread for a backdrop, and we mailed out 3,500 copies of my record with my photo to every country music radio station we could find. We would call up DJs and we would ask them to play I'm a Honky Tonk Girl. Then Mr. Burley paid for us to go on a promotional tour. He was real good to us. We left the kids with my brother and his wife, and we set out, Dew driving that Mercury all the way down the West Coast and all over. Well, the DJs got to decide what songs they wanted to play, so we got a list of every DJ at every single station, and we stopped at every one, all the way down one way, and then we came back to Washington State another way. I'd go into a radio station and I would sit there until they played my song. Sometimes I'd sit there 3 or 4 hours. I only had one good dress, so I'd put it on in the car before I had to be wherever I was going to talk or sing. Then I'd get back in the car, put on my blue jeans again. To save money, we slept in the car. We drove for weeks, sleeping in the car, eating so many bologna sandwiches I thought I would die. But Dew said that's what we had to do to get folks to play my record. And he was right. By the summer of 1960, I'm a Honky Tonk Girl was number 14 on the country charts. And that is how I ended up in Nashville. I'm a Honky Tonk Girl landed on the charts, and that landed me an invitation to sing at the Grand Ole Opry. I couldn't believe it. October 15th, 1960. I was too nervous to remember much of it anymore, but there I was, singing on the Opry. I wish my daddy could have seen me. I've lost everything in this world, and now I'm a honky-tonk girl. Getting started in Nashville weren't easy, though. We left our kids with family while Dew and I got settled, and it took a long time to find a place to stay and steady work for Dew. I was singing everywhere I could, and eventually I got invited to sing on Ernest Tubbs' Midnight Jamboree. He had a record store right there by the Opry, and he'd have this show after the Opry. They'd have to put this Coke crate down on the floor for me to stand on so folks could see me. Well, one night, I heard that Patsy Cline had been in a bad accident. I didn't know her, but I loved her music, and I wanted to do something for her. So I sang her new single, and I dedicated it to her. This one's for you, Patsy. I hope you get well soon. I fall to pieces each time I see you again. Well, would you believe Patsy was listening? She sent her husband over to the record store to tell me that Patsy wanted to meet me. The next day, I was at the hospital to meet Patsy Cline. Did I know that meeting Patsy that day would change my life? No. How could I? But I knew I'd made a real friend, a great singer, a proud mama, a woman who wasn't afraid to stand up for herself, another woman with music burning in her blood. From that day on, me and Patsy were friends. Every time she got the chance, she used her publicity to help me. I remember one time this radio station called her up. They wanted her to come on in and be on the show. And she looked at me and she said, "Why, sure, and you're going to have Loretta Lynn on too." It weren't an easy life. It took a toll on our kids and our husbands. I recorded a song about that in '62. what success can do to relationships. Success has made a failure of our home. I didn't write that, but I sure could understand the feeling. I know Patsy could too. There never was enough time for her to be with her kids and be on the road with her fans. I didn't get enough time with her either. The plane crash that killed Patsy Cline was March 5th, 1963. I think the saddest song I ever wrote was This Haunted House, right after Patsy Cline passed away. I was over at her house, and I just walked out into the driveway and wrote that song. This haunted house I'm living in is killing me. Lonely. It's the only word I can think of for those weeks after Patsy was gone. She taught me a lot, but most important, she taught me what it is to be a friend to other women. We could all use a friend like Patsy Cline. Well, life, it just never slows down for a minute. Right about then, I was in for another surprise. I was pregnant again, this time with twins. My girls, Peggy Jean and Patsy Eileen, came along and made me a mother of 6. Oh, I sure did have my hands full. I was recording and writing and touring and singing everywhere I could. My music career was taking off. I reckon I've told y'all how my husband do. He's a bit of a woman's man. Well, one thing I'll say is I always told the truth in my songs, and Do never tried to stop me. I remember when I first played him, You Ain't Woman Enough to Take My Man, I was nervous what he'd think, 'cause he'd know I was singing about him. But Do, he just said, That there, honey, that's a hit. And he was right. It was. Well, I don't know where that leaves you, oh, but I know where I stand, and you ain't woman enough to take my man. Do was even kind of proud when I wrote a song called Fist City. I wrote that about this gal that had been going around town bragging about her and Do. Well, that's just trashy. I reckon my man knows trash when he sees it, and so do I, and I ain't never been afraid of a fight. You better close your face and get out of my way if you don't want to go to Fist City. I guess Do understood I needed to sing about my life. He never took it hard or tried to stop me from singing the truth, and that was a good thing. I reckon my songwriting would have been a lot different if he had tried to stop me, but it was my life and mine to sing about. He didn't even get mad when I wrote, Don't come home a-drinking with lovin' on your mind. Just stay out there on the town and see what you can find. 'Cause if you want that kind of love, well, you don't need none of mine. I wrote that with my sister, Peggy Sue. I lived every word of that song. It came easy to me to write, though it weren't easy to live. So many women tell me they love that song. They hear the truth in it. And it makes me feel good and proud, like I'm standing up for another girl, giving her those words to say for herself. That song got banned on a lot of radio stations, but folks loved it. They loved it so much it got to be my next #1 hit. Yeah, don't come home a-drinking with the lovin' on your mind. Well, I tell y'all, it sure has been a wild ride. Coal Miner's Daughter was a hit. First the song, and then the book, and then the movie last year, which now just won an Oscar. So you can see why I'm up here looking for something from these trees and hills back home. I tell you what, the places we love are part of us, just like we're part of them. And we ain't never really gone from what we love. I sure do love this place. Butcher Holler, Kentucky will always be home. But home is also in my music. And it's in all the people who listen to my songs and they feel connected to the places and the people that they love. I guess maybe that's what home really is. People we love. Well, a lot of things have changed since way back then. Oh, and it's so good to be back home again. And I tell you what, I sure am grateful y'all took the time to spend with me and let me share my memories of a coal miner's daughter. Thank you. Thank you.
Should I move that podium?
No, I'll get it. Sorry. No problem. I'll just shimmy right back here. Oh, thanks. Once again, thank you so much. That was a very great example of women power in Kentucky and what resilience can do. Another round of applause for Lisa Woods. At this time, I'm going to turn the show over to Ace. Ace is on pace for our raffle. That's an inside office joke, by the way.
Well, thank you all for coming today. So first up, we have a $20 RB dry cleaner gift certificate, and that winner is 420409. Redraw. 420325. Did anyone get that? And next up, we have a Buffalo Wings and Rings gift card for $25, compliments of Buffalo Wings and Rings. And that winner is 420306. Right over here. And then we have a $25 gift card to the Cumberland Grill, compliments of the Cumberland Grill, and that winner is 420402. And then next up, we have 2 tickets to John King at the Center for Rural Development on Saturday, November 15th. Shows at 7:30. And that is compliments of the Center for Rural Development. And that winner is 420339. And I will tell you, there is a business card attached to that. If you could just reach out to Deborah at the center, she'll get you your tickets. And then lastly, we have Leading from the Pack book from Sanford Barenberg, and that winner is 420309. And that's it. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ace. We do want to mention our next luncheon, Tuesday, November 4th, with Jonathan Schell, the Kentucky Ag Commissioner. So that should be a really good luncheon. We hope to see you all back with us. And now to conclude our meeting, I would like to ask Virginia Dial of Connect Community to lead us in the pledge. America, and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.